Hi everyone, and welcome to this new Gamerside Live. Tonight we are going to show you, as you can see, a Plague Tale Innocence, and afterwards we are going to switch to Rage 2, two very very different games to say the least. And as usual, Driftwood is going to do the playing and most of the talking. Hi Driftwood.
Hi, Blim, and hi, everyone. And disclaimer to begin, I'm not sure if that's something that you are going to see, probably, I guess, or if it's just my TV going crazy. But for some reason, the game doesn't seem to be smooth all of a sudden, which is very odd. So the only reason I see, although it was working yesterday and the day before that, and every day before that, is that somehow the setup we use is messing with my PC in a way, to the setup we use to record and stream. So which again makes the camera movement very choppy, very very strange. I mean, I've had a few problem with the frame rate once in a while, but never to that extent, and I've tried everything I could to make it smoother and haven't managed to do anything that fixed the problem, even rebooted the PC. So maybe what I'll do before Rage, I'll still reboot it so that maybe it's better for Rage, or I don't know if something happening with a Plague Tale Innocence. I don't know, but I'm really disappointed because that's not how I wanted to experience the game tonight, and I clearly not the way I wanted to show it to you. But well, again, that's not check out the videos I posted earlier, and you'll see that that problem isn't there. So. It's again mostly due to the setup for some reason. I haven't seen any update of the game that could explain that. The drivers I'm using are the latest ones. As far as I remember, I launched the game after updating the drivers the other day and didn't see anything that weird. So I don't think they're to blame either. But well, I'll keep you posted if we find what's going on. I'm not sure there's sound in the game, by the way, Blim. I don't see.
No, in fact, I don't get any sound. Oh.
Switch back to the image. It's probably that could be due to the PC, and well, I'm not saying that it's going to solve all the problem, but maybe okay. That's why. So switch.
Just give me a second. All right, people, you should still be able to hear me, but let's see what's
okay.
happening.
So I see why there's no sound, because it was in 5.1 instead of.
Okay.
So let me check if. Okay, so you should hear that.
Yeah, I got it.
That would be nice if that actually solves the problem with the frame rate. That would be strange, but why not? Well, no, but maybe I should. I need to start the game again. I don't know.
Of course not. Well, at least we've got sound from the game.
Well, that's something. Yeah. So yeah, well, we were bound to have problems after so many weeks, months, should I say,
Hugo, not now.
without being able to
Don't touch them. They're all rotten.
to be there for you live.
Think of food right now.
So yeah, not the way I thought we would be able to show the game, but well, it's even worse because we can't give you our opinion about the game, the review. I'm not even sure I have time to translate the verdict for midnight later today, so probably tomorrow. The French review will be up at midnight, but until then, all we can do is basically answer the questions you might have related to the content, not to our again feelings about the game, really. Well, that's so choppy. I really don't get what's going on. Is it that bad also on the stream, then, or?
It's not great, but it's well. No, it's really when you do an horizontal panning of the camera, it really shows. Otherwise, we've done way worse streams when we had the issues with the with the stream. Just don't move the camera too much, and
Yeah,
it's
well,
fine. It's
yeah,
fine. It looks like 60 FPS until the camera moves too fast. No people on the chat saying it's fine.
well, it's not fine for me on my end. And again,
It's we are game side, so we strive on doing high quality stuff, and this is not as high quality as we usually do.
well, that's
Anyway,
also not the
moving
way.
on.
That's not the way I played for 2 weeks. So that's very frustrating for me. I was not expecting that at all, and maybe I should not have rebooted the PC in the first place. Maybe that's why it's all messed up.
Yeah, it's well known that you should never reboot a PC.
So what you get is when the game auto saves, there's usually you can see the frame rate taking a hit, but that's that happens in other games, so that's not a big problem. Other than that, it's pretty smooth. Dafton actually has had a completely smooth experience other than those autosave points. So maybe there's something wrong with my setup too, and for some reason, it's not the hardware itself, but maybe it's not too happy. So what you can see here, and I wanted to start with that, although I showed a perfectly nice and smooth video of that scene and that sequence, even in French actually, is that the game looks just as good as we were told it would in the trailers and even in the first screenshots of the game. And
it certainly is a beautiful game.
I can smell something cooking. Is it fair?
It didn't strive for realism. It's stylized and really well done. Do we know which engines are using?
It's their own engine.
Okay.
So that's pretty impressive for such a small studio. French, by the way, and no, we're not saying the game looks great because they're French.
No, it helps.
Yeah, sure, but and tomorrow, if everything goes according to plans, but as you can see, not everything goes according to plans when it comes to Gamerside. We should be back on the game. Potentially this time it'll be smooth. Maybe by then I have time to sort things out. And we have two guests that both worked on the sound design and all that sound part of the game. If again nothing has changed since the last time I talked to them, so hopefully you'll hear from us tomorrow to confirming that it's so choppy, it's a horrible thing. So the chase sequences, the thing that the game does is obviously you're going to see you're going to experience some sequences that are going to come back, so like being chased like that, it happens a few times, but the way the game does it is it never gets really old, because they add new gameplay mechanics more or less all along the story, and it's not being chased all the time, so you get stealth.
Maybe first you could explain what the game is about, because honestly I don't know myself.
You don't know.
No.
So basically, as far as I remember, I played the game. I've been playing for about 2 weeks now, and obviously it's it's a game that's set in France, and you could actually play in French with English subtitles, if you will.
Immersion.
For full immersion, exactly. The French actually work, the voiceover work is really well done. The voice acting is very solid, and it's actually impressive, considering that usually the English version is, in most games, it's way better, even though we have good actors and actresses in France, doing this type of work. But this is really good.
It's even more impressive than 2 years ago when we first saw the game. At the Focus event, they told us that there wouldn't be a French dub.
Well, they said it was probably unlikely that they would have the, and usually Focus Interactive, they never actually, it's always English with French subs. It's never French voices. So that's I wouldn't not sure I'm going to say that's a first, but it's if that's not a first, it's one of the rare games that can actually that can actually be played with French voices, and that's cool for French people, and maybe even for others who want to play in French because it's supposed to take place in French. So it's 1348, and there's it's not a game that is going to be historically accurate in all possible ways, as it's I don't want to give away too much, but basically there's it's called the plague, a plague tale. So there's the plague, as you know, so rats are everywhere. But very soon in the game, so, well, I would say even by the end of the first chapter, which is just the introductory chapter, you get a feeling that it's a bit odd that those rats would just, arrive the way they arrive. So many of them being able to, as you saw probably in the even in the first videos when they demoed the game and showed the gameplay, that rats would eat people alive. So it doesn't seem very close to the what we know about the history of France or the countries where the plague killed so many people. So
we have all seen this documentary called Ratatouille, which is it doesn't work that way. The rats,
Exactly, yes, and so. And so the thing is, there's a mystery around this character here, Hugo, who's Missy's brother, the young girl. She's a teenager. I think she's 14 years old. As far as I can tell, also, if I remember correctly, the developers used two children, one child and one teenager, to actually play the English character. Well, the English voices are actually the same age as the characters, which is interesting also, I think. I'm not sure it's true for the French actors.
Surprising they didn't take a girl to do the boy's voice. That's usually the way you do it, but
no.
If the boy is good, more power to them.
I think it was the boy was about 9 when they started working on the game. Obviously, he's probably way older now. And so I don't know exactly what I was saying. So Missy and Hugo are going to be separated from their parents very early on in the game, and Missy's role is to protect her brother because the Inquisition apparently want to capture Hugo, and we don't really know and understand why. There's something about the boy. The only thing we know about him is that he's sick, and that his mother has been taking care of him for a long time, and that as a result of that sickness, he doesn't really know his sister, and so Missy doesn't really know him, and she couldn't see her mother a lot. She barely saw her, actually, which also was something that was difficult for her because she wanted to see her mom, obviously. And so they're separated from their parents, and there's this overwhelming sense of danger because the Inquisition is after them. They're trying to escape, but then the rats will come into play, and the rats are also very dangerous, although you can also use the rats against the Inquisition. And then you'll see. Basically, that's the main. That's how the story begins. I'm not going to say more about that. So what we can do is we can actually switch back to the menu and show another chapter. Because time
do you have a restriction over what we are allowed to show?
No, not really. It's just me not wanting to show too much. So
yeah, of course.
So we're going to switch to this. You might want to, because every time you load a chapter, there's a short summary. Yes. So it doesn't say much, but it summarizes the events up until that chapter. So don't want to spoil anything. Sort of ruining the experience for people with that horrible frame rate.
It's a very story-driven game.
Oh, it is. It's a very straightforward. It's a old school sort of way to make games where It's not an open world, thank God. We've had too many of them, and I think sometimes it's well, I understand the reason, but it's not always justified, or at least it's not. You get the feeling that you're playing always the same game. It's always the same sort of mechanics. They have a structure to fill the open world. So here it's very old school in that you use point A to point B, find your way, and use either stealth or sometimes there are I wouldn't call them puzzles, but a few things using other characters to help you that you'll come across, and there are also a few bosses, a few boss fights where you will be able to actually let's say defend, well, not just defend yourself, but actually be lethal too, and that's nice. And then when you are trying to escape and the guards are patrolling and everything, stealth is probably your best option, because when there's more than just one guard, it's very unlikely that you can survive, because usually there's a dodge button, but you don't really get to use it very much when it's not a boss fight, because when the guards get close to you, gets very close to you, there's a sort of cutscene and they kill you, and the only way to survive those sort of cutscenes is to have crafted some specific equipment that allows you to defend yourself. So if you have enough of them, you can probably escape a few attacks. But it's more stealth when you are let's say trying to find a way to go past the guards that are in the city or in the country, depending on the chapter you're in. And here it's more of a narrative section for just a few minutes, where you're trying to find that I think it's I don't remember if it's a monk or a priest in this church.
It's called in favor, so priest.
So priest, and
they're so pretty.
And then although we've actually you get to see the rats pretty early on in the game, but the first time you really have to confront them is this chapter.
And it's pretty too.
Okay. We had a question,
Alright.
even though Daft won't reply to it in
Okay.
the chat. I think it's an interesting question. It was about the unloading of the kid, if it was automated or manual.
Yeah, it's automated. I understand why, because gameplay-wise, that would make some situations complicated. Although I did like,
Father.
well, I'm just going to skip all the cutscenes.
Father,
I really enjoyed
why are there crosses
playing
on the village
Eco.
doors? Is it really
Like
the
that
plague?
physical
Started
contact
with
you have,
bites
because you have to
during
push a
the night.
button to hold their hands, and I think that's something
Sickness
that
spread.
sort of missing in the few
Families,
games
then
that
to
have done it
everyone.
since.
Fever.
Although in this case, I'm not sure it could have
Started
worked very
dying.
well,
And
or
when
you'd
we
be
finally found out where it came from,
you'd have to. I don't know. Maybe it could have worked.
It was
I mean,
already too
maybe
late.
tomorrow we can
And
ask
where did it come from?
the devs
We nearly
why
there.
they chose that. I would also have added some kind of rumble thing when Hugo grabs Missy's hand, but they haven't done that. So you need to add that sort of physicality to the movement. But I'm sure there's a reason why they did it. Also, maybe because sometimes he
Brother
grabs your
Morales.
hand and then he lets you be, and then again he grabs your hand, so that some people could have been annoyed by it. I don't know. So here you can see that that's the rats. And here there's no real danger because I'm holding this, and there's no it cannot the flame is gonna hold, so there's no problem. Sometimes you get smaller sticks and you don't have a lot of time to find your way out before the sticks actually gets extinguished.
It's a nightmare.
We have to get back outside, Amicia.
That's a lot of rats.
Keep moving.
That's a lot of rats. So yeah, so obviously when you look closely there.
If you look behind you, are there rats?
We're going to have to climb up.
Yes.
I'll have
Oh,
to
yeah.
put the torch down.
No, please.
Everywhere.
Calm down. There's the torch holder, we'll still have light.
But then what?
We'll find something.
And you can hear, the well, I don't know if you can hear it, but the music when you have the rats.
Understand why there are so many of them.
I think it must be a cello. So that's like smaller sticks.
Fire. We need some
Here,
fire.
like
It wouldn't
branches.
burn quickly. We have to hurry.
And you have to hurry because this is not going to hold for very long. And obviously,
Calm down, Hugo. The light will protect us.
with
alright?
no light here, it's instant death.
Yeah, clearly.
So that's their plague. Rats. The priest spoke of a way out through the crypt.
Funny thing is that the FPS counter on the top left corner actually remains very steady. So that's very strange that I.
Usual.
Well, yeah, no. Usually it's pretty. It's supposed to work well. So here again, very nice art. Oops, dangerous. Should not stay too close. So there's crafting, like I said before. Alchemy is something that is used in the game. And then there's this very practical and efficient way to.
She's very, very good.
She's very good, and I actually like the feeling when we throw a rock at someone's head. It's it's brutal, really.
Yes.
And here, that's something they showed, I think, in the early demos. It's something that people must have seen unless they really didn't see anything about the game. Is here you need to, well, you can't go through, there are rats, so you can use this.
Right. We'll pass at the same time.
Oh, it's moving.
And it's moving. And thankfully it's not going to stop. It's not like you have to rush because. And what I like, is she's, she climbs down first, and then she waits for her brother, and they hold hands. So very nicely done, I would say. Ooh. Sometimes there can be a few bugs. It's something that happened to Daphne and happened to me too after completing the game.
Calm down.
So when I was preparing the video, like suddenly I wanted to turn like this with Hugo, and he started to turn around. Well, they both started to turn around like a helicopter. Very odd to see.
Yeah.
Happened to me the one time after I completed the game. Happened to Dafton also once, but as I was playing, so I would say
someone
that's
would
a-
like
that's an
to
issue.
see how the rats kill us.
Oh sure, I can die. So that's the workbench where you can upgrade your equipment. So the sling, obviously, that we just saw, but the equipment, also the number of how many materials you can hold in your pocket. Ammunition, also that's different depending on the upgrade you get. Allows you to make less noise. Also, this is very convenient because you can actually craft things without having to find a bench. So just go in the menu and that's fine. And the last step is you don't even need to find the tools. At the bottom you see you need a tool to actually, even when you have all the material you need to craft something, if you don't have the tool, you can't do it. So if you upgrade this to the max, you won't need a bench, you won't need tools, you would just need actually materials to craft whatever you need. So, and it's not something you have to do. Like you could probably finish the game without upgrading anything. So it's not compulsory. It can make your life easier, and it gives movement, so to speak, because there's an incentive to keep playing other than just discovering the story, which is the biggest incentive, I would say. But it's actually rewarding to be able to personalize and upgrade your character, as you do in many other games, obviously. So here there's no light, but conveniently enough it's the kitchen apparently, so you can use the ham
Don't they?
It
to
might
lure
work.
the rats.
That seems to keep them busy.
Are you
See?
sure?
Another
And
help
here
should
there's
be
another
enough.
one because it's not enough. And you see the music accompanies, and I hope you can hear it, but the music accompanies the rats and the movements of the rats, and that I think is very well done. So you get to actually, it's not the music, it's almost the rats. Like, it becomes the rats at some point. Even though the rats
we'll
also
talk
make...
about that tomorrow.
Yeah, sure, we'll say more things about that tomorrow, but that's... So I'm going to show you what happens when I die, and I just maybe try to show you another level, so...
Okay, so basically fade
Oh.
to black.
When it happens with a guard, because you can use the rats against the guards when they have lights, and you you use your you craft something and you.
Oh, so there's no direct continue. You have to go back to the menu.
No. There's the direct continue. I went back
Okay.
to the menu.
Okay.
So you just can.
So it's 9, just so you know.
So just let me show you something we've already shown more or less. So try to hide the loading screen.
We'll do.
Okay,
Don't
you will
worry.
do. Okay.
Just waiting for this
So
to-
when the rats attack a guard, what's nice is depending on how long they stay, because you can actually make them go away if you have light yourself. But if you let them eat the guy completely, you'll see a skeleton, and bloody skeleton. If you
Come on, we'll walk from
if you
here.
make them go before,
If we
then
follow the
it's
aqueduct,
more
we
like
should have a shuttle go
he's
around
dead.
before nightfall.
Some parts are missing, but
It's just frogs, Hugo.
he's not completely gone. There's still some armor
Let's
left,
keep our
let's say.
fingers crossed.
Mhm.
So those rats are really hungry.
There are so many.
Aren't you cold?
A little, yes.
Hugo
Just
doesn't
checking
seem
it's
to mind.
still there. No problem with that.
He's keeping himself warm.
Yes,
So that's another
but
character
he's
you
too
get to
far for
meet.
my liking.
Hey, come back.
And Hugo is, as he's been sick ever since he was born, he hasn't seen the world, so gets amazed at many things,
Every
like
little thing.
like frogs and
Hugo,
birds.
where are
and-
you going? Hugo!
Hey, look, I'm a knight.
An English shield. Where did you find that?
Over there, lying on the ground.
Listen, Hugo. Put that down. It's not for children.
Oh, you're no fun.
Come on, let's go.
Do you smell that?
Oh, it stinks.
Yes, it's horrible.
That's also something I've shown, so and
Yeah,
something that they showed before also.
It's really pretty artistically. The lighting is just a tad flat
Amicia, Lucas,
compared to
come quick, look.
more advanced games, I say, but it's still for a small game by a small team. It's very impressive, considering especially that
Oh my
it's in
God.
Road Zero
Are
on
they
engine.
all dead?
And this looks,
Can't carry
well,
on.
it's
Yeah,
a bit odd to say, but it looks
We have
amazing.
to follow the aqueduct.
The fog, the corpses, you really get the impression that
Oh my goodness.
you're in the middle of a battlefield
We
after
have to
a big battle
go
where
around.
I know,
basically no one
we
escaped
don't
death,
have a
and
choice.
that is
it looks
Do you think we are
like a
hurting
painting.
you?
yeah,
almost.
exactly.
moving,
This is,
Hugo.
like
Come on.
those artworks you get to see when the game is under development, and when the game ships, when you see real gameplay, it doesn't look like that at all. And here it actually looks very close to
Yeah,
any artwork they
it looked like concept art
Don't
almost.
exactly.
Concentrate on the aqueduct.
Not realistic, but just it's really. Every time we did a news on this game, every time the picture on the news, especially on the new version of the site, looked amazing.
Oh, the horse.
Oh, look at the horse.
Oh no,
Yeah, I know
The
news
rats.
is saying that.
keep away from them.
Deja vu. Blim is complaining about lighting in a game. Yeah,
Don't believe it.
it's a pet peeve for me. It's game with good lighting are fine few. one of the Days Gone has great lightning, for example.
So here I'm going to show you that, well, I don't need to craft it, but I have Ignifer, and using Ignifer here, oops, sorry, should get closer, or not. Can I use, yeah, I'm going to use the bee. Okay, so you can scare the rats away, so you can go. So
rats are also dangerous in daytime?
well, no, it's when, but you know, it's almost going
it's
to be night. So well, it's not
okay.
almost night, but
it's dusk.
yeah, it's dusk and there's not. So here,
Now! Run!
yeah, you need to run because that's not going to stay lit for a long time. So here you're safe. So you know, there's
Over there.
We have to soldiers.
We have to get out of here.
What were
and
they
these are
doing?
thieves,
Those were looters looking for things to steal.
But why?
To
but they have
survive,
they have
probably.
fire, so they're safe.
They're safe, yeah.
So to craft basically is very simple to this. Much like in any game, The Last of Us, for example.
Well, the production value isn't as high, but it could be a Naughty Dog game.
Could you lend a hand? All right.
In terms of artistic choices and things like that.
We can't
I
walk
guess, you know.
back for long.
It's a compliment.
Obviously it is. So here I'm going
Hugo,
to ask.
You're going to have to go
Oh no,
through.
you cannot go through.
I can't. There are rats everywhere.
We have to clear our way through.
Oh yeah, can do this. Okay.
Could you help me with this?
Yes, of course.
So there's some cooperation too. It's never going to be a game that is going to drive you crazy because
It's all right now.
someone is not doing what they should do.
Yes.
And
Be careful.
most of the time, I haven't seen anything like in The Last of Us where there's something breaking the immersion with a
Now come back.
NPC doing something next to a guard that we should be spotted and is not.
Ow. My
Well,
arms.
one time it was something odd that I saw that.
Well done, you two.
So I will be able to show you more, and it'll still be in the beginning, so we're not going to spoil anything, but I'll show you different sections with our guest if everything goes according to plan. So we're going to switch to another game now.
Give me because I'm going to stop the stream completely. We're going to change something and see if it helps or not.
On my end, how would
Yes.
why would it help me? Well,
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll be back in 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, great.
See you soon.
After,
Sorry.
for the people watching this is a video on demand. Thanks for watching. We'll have some more coming with 2 guests, and
Reg too, also, if you want to watch it.
Well, yeah, sure. After that, so
In a
thanks for
different
watching.
video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for
see
watching,
ya.
guys.